What does starting mean? Okay, I think we're live. I think we're on. Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Port Haven StreamCast episode 0, our 100th sub special.
Yay!
We're still getting used to this. So I'm Yoda Bauer, also known as Jess, one of the people on this channel. I'm here with my partner in crime.
Yeah, I'm your boy, Professor Django.
And we are here to announce something pretty exciting. So we hit 100 subscribers, which is amazing. We're going to get into that a little bit more, but so that's what we're doing. We want to come to you. We want to talk to you guys, but we're also planning on doing this more regularly. We're going to jazz it up a little bit, hopefully next time, but we want to start doing like a live Star Wars discussion where we will come to you every week with a topic and we'll talk about it for a couple of minutes. And I see there's people already in the chat, but I'll come in and talk to you in a second. But we'll talk for like a couple of minutes about a Star Wars topic and let you guys kind of post your thoughts, and then we'll interact with you. So that's really what we want to do. But we also need to thank a lot of people for getting us here. So take it away, Terry.
Well, we want to thank a lot of people, but we want to start off with some of our sort of standard, regular community on Twitter, where you can find us at twitter.com/PortHavenForums. People like Tatooine Sons is a new podcast that we have gotten really sort of head over heels in love with, you know, in a super duper platonic way, just like Rey and Kylo.
Hey, we might lose subs over that.
But also accounts like Partisan Cantina, accounts like Neil Positivity, which is at Lowry Neil on Twitter. People like our own The Dark Moose that give us a lot of love on Twitter. We have a lot of Porg Twitter accounts, most notably at Porgy the Porg, and all of our other friends on Twitter. There are too many to mention them all.
Oh yeah.
But we want to thank all of you for the love that you've been showing us as we've reached this milestone.
Yeah. And then I want to talk about a group that is mostly filling our chat right now. They're very rambunctious in there. Port Haven is a part of a group called the YouTube Wolfpack, which is both YouTube and Twitch. Actually, it's all small timers, little guys trying to get started, and we work together and just provide technical support and everything. And they've become kind of like our other internet family, and they've been great. And oh my gosh, they're all here. We have Like a Fox Tom, we have the Couch Bum, Great Canadian Guy I see in there, Rob from Bonus Stage Heroes. Bonus Stage Heroes being the group with a channel called Max Attacks that did the Star Wars Holiday Special with us. You heard Terry and I like subject them to some terrible things. And so it's a great group at, oh crap, I can't do letters. YouTube Wolfpack at YTWP _official, I believe is what it is on Twitter, and they can get you. You know you loved it, Rob, and and they can direct you to the channel. And there's like some group stuff. We do a podcast, which I'm actually hoping to record later, that I'm really excited about. And they're just all great people. Like, I don't have enough time to watch all of their channels, but like everyone there is just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, just letting chat catch up a little bit. We also wanted to spend a little time. We want to do a channel trailer for our YouTube channel in the future with a little bit about what Port Haven is. But for those of you that only know Port Haven through YouTube or Twitter, you may not know kind of what the origin story of Port Haven is. So we thought we would clue you in a little bit to what Port Haven is and how it sort of came about. Because if all you know is from YouTube or Twitter, then you may think that primarily Yoda Bauer here is Port Haven. Maybe the two of us, if you're familiar with the few things that I've done on our YouTube channel. But Port Haven is actually a lot of people. Port Haven started out as an online community, and we still are primarily a forum. So if you ever hear us talking about forums.porthaven.com, .com, or you can find that link on port-haven.com and things like that. It's even in our Twitter name, Port Haven Forums.
Yeah.
It's right there. We started out as a group of people primarily that met each other on the old StarWars.com forums. So in about 2001, back when forums were a thing that were popular on the internet, there were forums on the official StarWars.com website, and some of us met there and have known each other for over a decade now, well over a decade now. In the lead up to Attack of the Clones and that sort of intermediate period there between the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, the board started up, and some of us were on that site for almost a decade before eventually StarWars.com decided forums weren't a thing that they wanted to do anymore. And so some of us that still liked the platform of a forum and didn't want to lose touch with our friends, especially since some of them weren't so hip on social media, and some of them still aren't. We decided to form our own forum site, and that was Port Haven. It's why we call ourselves the Star Wars Refuge, because it was a refuge for all of these people that had known and talked to each other about Star Wars, about politics, about life for over a decade, to still find that community and keep that family going. And so we at Port Haven, it sounds really weird to think about this. Port Haven has existed for almost 7 years now. So this April will be 7 years since the Port Haven Forum started. And you can always remember because it started right after April Fool's Day, because we thought that the StarWars.com forums closing was an April Fool's joke, and it turns out that it wasn't. So
they announced that the forums were closing on, I think it was like April 1st.
I think so. So in a way, Port Haven is the longest running April Fool's joke on the internet.
Oh, man.
But we are there. We still talk about Star Wars. We still talk about life. We still talk about politics. If you're into forums, you can come and discuss everything from The Last Jedi to really anything else you ever want to discuss about anything. We're there at forums.porthaven.com.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat, and it'll be eventually in the description. So that'll be good. But I think just as a get to know you guys, and for you guys who've been watching us to kind of get to know us, I thought it would be fun. Hold on, I'm new to this stuff. There we go. I thought it'd be fun if we kind of talked about how we got into Star Wars and what our Star Wars journey was. I know for me, I always liked Star Wars as a kid. I remember watching it on those VHS tapes, but I didn't watch it a whole lot because my parents were like super protective and they didn't want me to get like bubble gum on the tapes and stuff. So I remember in 1997, the special editions came out, and most people hate special editions, but the special editions for me were my first movies that like I owned. Like I remember waiting, and I pre-ordered them, and I went to the store and I got my VHS tapes of the Star Wars special edition, and those are the ones that I watched, and those are the ones that I wore out. So those were always those were Star Wars to me. Like I remember years later watching the original cuts and learning what Yub Nub was, and to be honest, I laughed my butt off and like cried because I couldn't believe it was ever actually in a Star Wars movie. But even then, I was a Star Wars fan, but I wasn't like a freak yet. And that all happened around the time of Revenge of the Sith. When Revenge of the Sith came out, I was more of a movie fan than I was a Star Wars fan. So I had watched like the making of the original trilogy, and I knew that for a while, a very brief period of time, Return of the Jedi was going to be called Revenge of the Jedi. And I knew little details like this, but it was more from a movie buff perspective than a Star Wars fan. And I remember where I was on vacation with my family, and there was this thing called a newspaper, if people remember what newspapers are. And it announced that the title of Episode 3 of Star Wars, the final Star Wars film at the time, was going to be called Revenge of the Sith. And I knew the history with Revenge of the Jedi, and somehow a switch in my head just flipped. And I was obsessed. And I spent the next several months waiting for Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith was my first midnight show. I know everyone hates the prequels, but they will always hold a special place in my heart because they were the trilogy I saw in theaters. And it just exploded. After that, I started playing Knights of the Republic. I read all the different Star Wars novels, and that that's just what happened for me. That's my tale of how I got here.
Yeah, my tale is both similar and very different. Um, I'm a little bit older, not dramatically older, but for me,
You
Star
pretend you're
Wars.
much older.
Yeah, I'm much, 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 much older. Um, but once you hit 30, you just feel it. Um, but Star Wars for me is kind of my fourth franchise love, if you want to think about it that way. For me, I actually didn't even mean to wear this, but I'm wearing a Batman shirt today. So the first film I ever remember seeing in theaters was the 1989 Batman film, and then I was watching, Batman the animated series growing up, and so Batman was always my thing. And then I read Lord of the Rings when I was in middle school, and I got super. This is way before those films were even a thing. But I was super into Lord of the Rings, and then I kind of got a knack for sci-fi and got into Star Trek. So I was watching The Next Generation, that was on TV when I was a kid, and Deep Space Nine and Voyager and all these shows. And the Sci-Fi Network used to run the original series even before things like Netflix and streaming were a thing for those of you that are super young and don't understand how technology worked before the internet. Um, so Star Trek even was a bigger thing to me, and I didn't get into Star Wars either until the special editions came out. So I had some friends that were like, "Oh, you need to watch Star Wars," and I was like, "Well, I don't really know about that. I'm kind of a Star Trek kind of guy." But I saw Star Wars, when the special editions came out in theaters. I went and saw them with some of my friends in theaters. Then I guess would you say that was 97 or
Yep,
so?
97.
So that's about as long as I've been into Star Wars too, is when those came out in theaters. I remember going to, like, it wasn't even a Blockbuster because I'm from a small town, but like going to the VHS rental store and renting the special editions from the store so that I could watch them again. And then I saw all the prequels in theaters. I was there at the midnight showings for those and things like that. So I've been into Star Wars too, but only compared to other things relatively recently. And then I was into the old EU and playing some of those video games and reading those books and some of those comics. And now I'm in it today. And if you had told me then, that I would be helping to run what I am choosing to call an online media conglomerate that is Port Haven. One, I wouldn't have known what an online media conglomerate was. I probably would have told you that I would never care that much about Star Wars, but I do.
Oh man, that's good stuff. So yeah, that's what we have here in terms of like planned content. I was gonna open up some really cool cards and talk with you guys for a couple of minutes. If you have any questions for Terry or I about anything, lingering Star Wars questions, things you want to know about us.
Yeah, Entertainment 720. Gotta love the Parks and Rec shout outs too.
we gotta happen in chat. For my friend Sergeant Curry Pants, who's there, I don't know if you noticed, but the Mona Sarge is here in the background in a place of honor. But yeah, so let's see. No, I think everyone's still talking. Y'all are having a good time in there. But yeah, if Professor Django wants to watch the chat, let's see. I bought this box of cards a while ago. Let's see what we get here. I have some Obi-Wan and Luke. Got Anakin on Geonosis. Card from Return of the Jedi with Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma, by the way, in the new canon has gotten so much love. Like she's gone from this character I didn't really care about at all to one of my favorites.
Just don't call her Mon.
Just don't call it. It's always weird when people call her Mom. My favorite is that my phone likes to correct her name to Mom Mothma, like MOM. So like I try to text Django about Mon Mothma things, and it's always like, I was talking to Mom today. Ooh, this is cool. Here's a Last Jedi card. Look at that.
Ooh.
I like that.
Yeah, Mon Mothma is totally the mom of the rebellion.
She is the mom of the rebellion. I really liked the new. Speaking of rebellion, there's Jen or so. I really liked the new rebellion origin story. You know, in Legends there were like 5 of them.
Right.
It was really hard to keep track of which one was a thing. Pretty cool. Well, here we go. Here's my boy with your boy, Terry.
Oh yeah.
Kylo with Poe.
My boy, I brought your friend.
Oh, there's
to the
Poe.
stream. Here's little Poe bobblehead.
I don't parsec here. I should go get him.
Yep. Here's my boy Poe right here.
There's my boy Poe. This is the 3rd card like this I have. Like, I love me some Kylo Ren, but I now have 3 of that card.
The same one?
The same one. Okay, here's some cool ones, guys. Check this out. This is like a really cool Stormtrooper helmet thing. This is an actual insert. It's the First Order Stormtrooper. We got a nice Rey card, looking all like, it's like that really cutesy face she has where she's like sad but like smiley at the same time.
Right.
And then here's like watercolor Rey. It's pretty cool. So this was a pretty good pack. I like this.
Couchbum says in chat that he always thinks about moths.
Moths.
My friends in West Virginia know about the Mothman. Local cryptid there. Chat also wants to know what's our favorite Star Wars stuff outside of the movies.
Ooh, so like books, games, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm dropping my stuff on the floor. I'll tell you what my favorite thing of all time is in new canon. I've always loved reading comics, but I've never owned them. I've always been really cheap and gotten them from the library. I bought the entire run of this series in hardcover. Like, this is a hardcover. I have 2 of them. This is like the best thing I ever read. Darth Vader by Kieran Gillen, I think is how you say his name. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic, and it has my new favorite character of all time, Dr. Aphra, in it. And Dr. Aphra is like space Indiana Jones, and she's pretty amazing.
My favorite stuff, I mean, it's easy to say Knights of the Old Republic, and I see a couple people in chat definitely saying that KOTOR is their favorite thing. But it because it's just such a good game. But honestly, if I were to pick some of my favorite, particularly older stuff, like I remember playing the X-Wing games, and I love the X-Wing games, and all the Jedi Outcast games. That's a plug to the Let's Play series that Jess did. You can go back and watch those.
Secret Tunnel.
And I loved the New Jedi Order, the NJO books as they were coming out. I was reading those. So that's some of my favorite stuff. And we're talking about new canon stuff. I think my favorite book so far, if you can even narrow it down, I love the Legends of Luke Skywalker. I loved the new Leia book, Princess of Alderaan, and Bloodline. I also do love Porgs.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, I forgot to grab Parsec. I'm going to grab Parsec real quick.
I probably don't love Porgs quite as much as other people do, and we're going to get in trouble with some of our Porg accounts on Twitter for saying this, but I'm of the thought that Chewie definitely should have munched down on that Porg and found out what. Yeah, Porgs are food, not friends. Exactly. I do have a Porg on some Porgs on my water bottle that I got.
Oh, here. That's cute.
But yeah, that's kind of the Star Wars stuff that I enjoyed.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot, and like I would say in old canon, like in Legends canon, my favorite thing is probably I feel like such an overachiever. I can just like reach back and grab it. Shatterpoint. I've read this book so many times. But this is like Heart of Darkness, aka it's like Apocalypse Now, but Star Wars. So it's Mace Windu in Apocalypse Now, basically. So good. Just so good. I can't put it back very well, so it's going to sit like that. But that was probably one of my favorite things. It was also, coincidentally, one of my first things I ever read. So it kind of set the standard before I read things like Children of the Jedi with Callista in it, which you like to mock me with Callista incessantly.
Yeah, Callista is Luke Skywalker's one true love forever and ever. Does anybody in chat know who Callista is? I made a joke about Callista on Twitter the
I bet
other
Nox
day.
does. I see
And
Nox
ended up
there.
having to explain it, which is, the best thing you
Best
can
kind
ever
of
do
joke.
with a joke is explain why it's funny.
Yeah, always.
Chat wants to know what your favorite lightsaber is. My favorite, which I was told by one of my friends who owns this prop that it's completely impractical. But my favorite lightsaber were Count Dooku's lightsabers
his
with
hilt
the
is really
curved handles. It's always funny to me if you look at, this is something I know because this is the type of nerd I am. But if you look at lightsaber hilts, yeah, Callista Ming or Bento. That's a very insider baseball question there. But Sith lightsabers I've always thought were more elegant. Jedi lightsabers to me look very functional. I don't know if that's like just a symptom of the prop guys that made them, but no, I love Count Dooku's those little curved hilt lightsabers. That's my favorite one.
I liked that in Legends, at least, although I think they kept it in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Asajj Ventress uses 2 red lightsaber blades, and hers were kind of bent like Count Dooku's too. And I'm not sure. I don't think she made hers, so I think that was probably more like Dooku making her have sabers that looked like his. But I always liked it. In terms of lightsaber, I always liked Mace Windu's because he had a special lightsaber. He had a purple one. And then you have games like Knights of the Old Republic where special colored lightsabers aren't special anymore. But it's probably not going to... Anybody who's been following this channel is not going to be surprised when I say that Kylo's is probably my... I'm going to stop just using props from behind me. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I really like Kylo's. But if I had my own saber... I want to pretend that I'd be cool and say I'd use like a really cool color, but at the end of the day, my favorite color is green, so I'd probably have like a really cool green saber blade. That'd be what I'd do.
Darth Nox says, "Wasn't his true love Mara Jade?"
Yes,
that's the joke.
Yes, that's the joke.
If you do know who Callista is, though, so there were 2 books. What's the first one? Children of the Jedi.
Jedi and Darksaber. John is great Canadian guy's telling me to use more props, so I'm gonna grab them.
Yeah, use all I have the props. Them. My props
Where
are in a different room, or I would go get them. But there were these 2 books where Callista was this Jedi who had died and then was a ghost.
Yep.
And Luke had special mommy Jedi, daddy Jedi time with Callista
as a ghost.
Mm-hmm. And then she like inhabited this other Jedi's body for a while. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a thing. And people who really love Jade really hate Callista. And so that's why I talk about Callista.
And from an objective standpoint, without putting in my own personal bias, it's usually because Mara Jade is a very intriguing, interesting, well-written character, where Callista is stupid. So that's that's really the difference. Oh, what do we got going on in chat here? Oh, CB's trying to troll me. But yeah, so that's the story with Callista there. Mara Jade is still one of my favorite characters from Legends. Although I'm kind of weird now that Star Wars has gone the way it's gone. I would actually rather Mara not come into canon because she will never, like, as weird as it sounds, like if Mara can't be Luke's wife, I'm not sure I really want Mara in canon. And I don't know. I know people who disagree with me. We're both getting over being sick recently.
Hooray for the flu.
So any other questions? We've been here about a half hour. How goes my rereads of Rogue Squad? I am not nearly as far in Rogue Squadron as I should be, but I have read them before. I accidentally spoiled part of it for Terry.
Yep.
Whoops. But he's farther in it than I am.
Yeah, it was a really great text to say, I think we're almost to the part where you find out this really important thing. I'm like, nope, actually not there.
I knew you were ahead of me, and I thought it happened early. I'm sorry. Oh man. Let's see. They're talking about Star Wars Galaxies. I never played Star Wars Galaxies. A member on Port Haven who goes by many names, JPD, 5 million other things. He was Gurr, the eagle from Lord of the Rings for a while. He was super into it, and he tells stories of like the houses he would design and stuff.
I never played Galaxies because I don't like monthly fees.
Yeah, that's the same reason why I never played Galaxies and why I never played the Old Republic.
I would have played.
Rob wants to know which Jar Jar Sith theory is your favorite, and how do you feel about it being correct? Which is a very well written question, I think. What are your opinions on Darth Jar Jar?
It's interesting, I guess.
Yeah,
it's a theory.
It's
5 out of 5 Star Wars critics say it is a theory.
I get a little indignant because I feel like when Snoke came out, everyone came up with this like Jar Jar is a Sith theory. And I feel like such a hipster to say it, but I feel like I was saying that back when Revenge of the Sith came out, that Jar Jar must be a Force user. Because if there's no such thing as luck, then Jar Jar must be a very powerful Force user. I feel like the internet caught up with me like 5 years later. And so now I just don't entertain it.
I mean, technically, if we want to be serious about it, there's a what did you even call them? One of those interludes in Aftermath. Which was that Empire's End, the one that had the Jar Jar interlude?
Yes, Empire's End had the Jar Jar interlude.
Where Jar Jar ends up being like this town jester.
Yeah.
Out by like a fountain in the city on Naboo, like trying to entertain people for money.
Yep.
So
I liked in Legends canon, the game The Force Unleashed had a Gungan that was probably Jar Jar in Carbonite. In the Hunter's showroom. I can't remember the name of the Hunter. I can tell you who he's voiced by. He's voiced by Tim Kaine, who's the same guy who voices Yoda. And I only know that because I know who voices Yoda. But what else we got? Oh, hey, Beeman Entertainment. Hey, buddy. He's another one of our subs. He's a cool vlogger, makes cool intros and stuff. Nice of you to drop by. Good to see you. Got a lot of friends in chat. It's so good to see. Like Darth Knox is here. Nolan, who's another one of my subs. He's a sub of a buddy of mine too. I didn't call him out earlier. I should have. There's a guy in here by the name of Bare Naked Gaming, which is a great name. He's another good friend of mine.
Knox also wants to know what we think about Disney doing away with Legends canon.
I would have a lot bigger problem with it if it sucked, but because new canon has been almost entirely like better than where Legends was at this stage, I'm okay with it.
I mean, and the fact that you can see our shelves of books behind both of us.
Yeah, I still have it all.
It's not like those books stopped existing. Like we're rereading one of those series together right now.
With Nolan, who's in chat, by the way.
Sure, yeah. And so like they still exist. Like I can still read them for the first time and learn that spoilery thing about Corran Horn that Jess texted me.
In fairness, most people know it too. So
you know, the Yuzang Vong are still there. Like just because they're not there in the new Phasma novel doesn't mean that those books don't exist or that I can't reread them.
Yeah.
You know, and I still like the way that I think about this too, and this is a video I want us to make on our channel at some point. You know, if you think about the scene in The Last Jedi with the tree and the books, you know, and a lot of people have kind of pointed to that as Jess is showing off some of her stuff. You know, you think about a lot of people said, "Oh, that's directly spitting in the face of the Legends canon because we're destroying these books." But we didn't. The books are still there. Ray kept the books. I still have the books. You still have your books. Like they're there. They exist. You can read them. They're always there. And if you think about I like the way that they call them legends, because it doesn't mean that they didn't happen. It just means that it's separate. But coming from comic books, there are so many different Batman universes. Like, I don't have a problem keeping that separate in my head anyway. But
yeah, and I feel like with Legends, the only thing that really makes me sad is that they didn't get to conclude. Like, I don't necessarily mind that they've ended. I feel like in so many ways, with them being off in their own thing, they're actually more protected, because now they'll never get a bad adaptation, if that makes sense. Right. I'm just sad that there's no conclusion, right? So in new canon, with the new films, we know what happens to Han Solo. We don't know what happened to Han Solo in Legends. And maybe in some ways that's better, but I think if there's any kind of regret I have, is that it was just ended. Same thing happened with the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, even though the Clone Wars is canon, it was such an amazing series, it was just ended. Like, Disney decided, rather than working out a deal with Warner Brothers, they would just pull the plug and then start Rebels. And Rebels has been great, and I have no sadness about that, but it would be nice if we could have had a conclusion to all of these books.
Right.
Everyone is just talking. This is so exciting. People are selling the Book of Mormon with Jedi. I like that. That's a great idea. Oh yeah, Nolan's saying the hardest thing to read about reading is there's so many characters you have to flip back and forth to the front of the book. Yeah, there's so many characters in Rogue Squadron and in Legends in general. After a while, it got to the point where I was on Wikipedia anytime I read a book, because if I hadn't read the books leading up to it, I had no idea who they were.
And some of them's fathers are secretly Jedi, and you don't learn that until your friend texts you.
You might be ruining it for Nolan now, by the way.
Well, misery loves company, right?
Yeah, so this is the type of thing we're hoping to do more regularly, is come to you with a different topic. One of them might be more on Legends canon and that type of thing. And, as much as we love a happen in chat, we would just talk and do kind of a podcasty like thing, but then at the end, be there and interact with you guys and let you guys just kind of call us out on air. So this is, I don't know when we're going to start it, but it's a thing we want to start soon, and we're really excited about it. And yeah, do you guys have any other questions before we go? Otherwise, we'll just, I can rant and ramble all day, but I'm not sure you guys really want that. But if anyone out there is looking for good content, like, almost everyone in our chat is currently like a YouTuber that makes great stuff. So you should click on everyone's name and find each other, because there's just all good content out there. Oh, well, it looks like Rob's leaving. So if Rob's leaving, then this party should just be over. There's no point in going on without Rob.
Mace Windu says this party's over.
This party's over. So yeah, that's what I got. Anything else you'd like to add, Professor Django?
Not really, except to follow us on all the things.
All the things.
Which
I probably should have put in the description, but I didn't, because we kind of threw this together last minute. But we'll be, if you are watching this in the future. But yeah, we'll be coming to you soon with more stuff. So I guess until next time, keep it real and fly casual.
Woohoo!
Woo! Bye, everybody.
See ya.